That's the start, right?
Yeah. We're
rolling.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Welcome back to 10 Cents Podcast. I am your host, Robbie Vero, and across from me is my co-host, Adam Nilsson. And across from both of us on Zoom is the other co-host, Dusty Nixon.
How long has it been
Since we've done a show?
When was our last show? I'm going to look at it.
I think it was
now I'm curious.
I think it was before I brought the Z to
Did
Ohio.
we do one in the month of June?
No.
Because this will come out not in June.
It'll be the 30th.
Yeah.
Squeak.
It was like the beginning of May.
May 19th was
Yeah.
our last show release.
I was like, it was a long time ago.
My bad.
We're your
My
favorite
bad.
semi-monthly podcast.
My bad.
It's fine. We tried.
Dude, it's not because we were just like, nah, we don't want to do this.
There was like 3 weeks in a row where it was like, we'll do it today. Okay, can't do it. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow.
Dude,
I can't. And then like,
and it was always me too.
And like one of the times it was you and there was no internet.
yep, we lost internet that one day. Or I was gone, like traveling, so like going to Ohio or something.
I had 1 week where we had 3 days in a row after 4 o'clock. We got 2 emergency fiber cuts, and I'm really short. We've hired a few people, but I was really short staffed during that.
Yep.
And so it's like, guys, I can't. I'm going to go work all fucking night and it was like, we'll try again tomorrow. Nope, just kidding. It's 4 o'clock. Guess what? My phone just went off.
Emergency.
Guess what? That same guy just cut that same line again.
That actually happened in 2 different places. I had the same contractor hit the same fiber 2 days in a row in 2 different places.
Amazing. You can't make that shit up. But we did try.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get an E for effort.
So,
That's okay. Everyone gets refunds or whatever.
yeah, fully refundable. Just send us a bill.
But
That's
luckily,
why this episode's going to be 6 hours long to
It's
make up
not
for it.
because I have to go to work in
Absolutely
less
not.
than 2 hours.
so that's why we wait long enough. Now we have 30 minutes of content.
I've already accepted the fact I'm going to be late. It's fine. They'll figure it out without me.
It'll be quick.
Or they won't. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So, what have you guys been up to?
I tried to go racing.
You tried.
I tried.
You tried real hard,
I tried.
even.
I gave it the old college try.
Yeah.
Good effort.
Yeah.
Poured a fuckload of money into it.
I was fully prepared to be to support you in
Yep.
any way I had to at the racetrack.
Yep.
I was
I
so cautiously optimistic from Texas. I was
I
just
was, dude. Car felt,
rooting that optimism
Yep.
straight north.
yeah.
Didn't quite make it though.
Didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it got
there.
stuck on a river somewhere
Yeah.
between here and there.
Yeah, that's probably why that river's flooded now. Dick.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man. And then I went to Europe.
Yeah.
Yep. That was nice.
Yep.
Spent 2 weeks in Europe.
Uh huh.
Car's still on the trailer.
Yep.
Actually, by the time this airs, the car will be off the trailer.
Let me know if you need help with that.
I probably will. Yes.
Okay.
I bought dollies today.
Oh yeah, that'll make things easier. It crab walks. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I don't have like an opener or anything because we'll just talk about what I've been up to. I guess.
Yeah, we've got a ton of things that
Catch up on.
Yeah, I mean, even I have a few car related things I could talk about if we wanted to. So
Sure.
there's no lack of things to do.
Yep, and I know we have stuff for Dusty, but that's a whole separate show. We've already declared.
Probably. Plus, Robbie's getting sick, so that's good.
No, I'm getting over being sick. I've been sick for like 20 minutes. I'm basically over this.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear that you're basically.
That's basically This is like you should have heard me like 20 minutes ago, man. It was way worse.
It's the power of the mind.
Yeah, mind over matter. I went outside, sprayed those wasps. I feel way better now.
It's true. We did some dangerous shit before we recorded.
Yeah, Jess loves it when I climb on the roof and spray wasps.
Well, there's a reason that we did it when she wasn't here. So
She's a nurse. It'll be fine.
that's what I said. She'll be home. Like she'll work overnight and then be sleeping all day, and then I'll come in and be like, "Yeah, I got rid of all the wasps." What do you mean you got rid of all the wasps? Well, I climbed on the roof and got rid of all the wasps while she was sleeping, and then she gets all mad. Well, what if you fell?
this time
my problems would be over.
This time you can tell her that I was here in case you fell.
Yeah,
So you had backup at least,
it's fine.
and I kept my cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you're a certified
'Cause honestly-
bee wrangler now, so
That's true. Honestly, if you've got someone running around the floor, or on the ground, mother henning you, and
It makes it worse.
and like gasping when you slip a little bit, it's way worse.
It is.
So
It was fine.
if she just keeps her cool, you're way less likely to get hurt.
I had my cell phone in my pocket. It's fine.
It's fine.
Plus, there's a nurse in the house. It's whatever.
She'll probably wake up eventually.
Exactly. And now we don't have any wasps.
And you know what? If you died,
No more problems for
well,
me.
then you're dead.
Yeah, my problems are over. Like literally no more
Solved.
problems. Yep, none.
So
It's a problem for like 3 seconds, and then
Yeah.
no more problems.
yeah, it's not the fall that hurts; it's the sudden stop.
Yeah, nobody ever got hurt going fast.
No.
Coming to a stop. That's the
stopping
issue.
part. That's
I don't know if that's true. I think some people have got hurt going fast, but they go way faster than like us.
Happens.
Yeah.
But I think where we left off, actually, now that I think of it, probably after we left off, because I had the Z ready.
May 19th was a long time ago.
A long time ago. I'm pretty sure that was before I brought the car to Dula.
No, I think the car was at.
Was it at Dula?
Well, Robbie gives updates on the 350s. Let's see how good your episode description is here. Robbie.
Bad. It's like a half a sentence. Robbie gives an update on his 350Z.
When was Rev Up? That's how we can. Rev Up was like the first weekend of June, right?
Yeah. So the car would have been ready the first week of June.
But I think you took it there already. Yep, that's all it says. Robbie gives updates on the 350Z. Dusty does more track stuff. Apparently, I had plans for the fall, and I don't remember what those were. So,
Slate Garnett.
fuck.
We remember.
Yeah, it's fishing at Lake Garnett. Yeah.
I know. I was like, I don't remember planning any fishing trips this far in advance.
Lake Garnett. But yeah, so. Oh, problems.
So you brought the car to Dula.
Yep. Got all my tuning done.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm trying to do it's been so long, I don't know how to do this anymore.
Joe's the best, by the way. Love that guy.
Literally the best. Yep. So yeah,
If you are in the Ohio area or farther out,
he
even.
does remote tuning.
Yeah, there you go.
If you can fit into his schedule, he does remote tuning.
There you go. Hit up Dula Designs.
For real. Especially if you have a Z in any year or a Supra.
And you want to do weird shit with
Yep.
it?
Yeah,
Like detune it
yeah, or if you
the right way?
or if you have like a actual like
a phone.
challenging request for him, like an actual challenging tuning thing.
Right.
He's into that.
Yeah.
It's like, here, I need to do this. I'm going to take let's just take an XSR3 and then we'll put it in a Z.
How many of
and then
those
I
are
want-
in a Z, you think?
I think two.
Yeah?
I think there's one that was done shortly before mine, and then
And he probably makes like 1,000 wheel
probably.
and has like 6 turbos and a supercharger.
Probably.
It's a drift car.
But if it's a DE, he couldn't do a whole lot more because I used all the inputs.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't have ABS and all that horse.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
So,
But if he's using traction control, he needs it. But don't worry about it because the new Haltech update will let you use the inputs and outputs from your dash.
allegedly.
That shit's coming, man.
Allegedly.
They just updated the NSP software this week
man.
to preview
Here
it.
it comes, people.
It's coming, man.
Here it comes.
Yeah, the Haltech dash. That's where it's at. Yeah, so
Robbie's about to have shock travel sensors and
well, it doesn't matter if the car doesn't run. Well, it does run, but it doesn't move.
It runs great.
It does run fucking great.
Runs great.
So
If you turn enough, it might even go in a straight line.
maybe it needs to go the other direction. We want to go left.
Turn left to go right, Robbie. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just steer with your foot.
Yeah, so I dropped the car off with Joe. Just he wanted to wrap up getting the tune like just perfect.
Yeah.
We also didn't know how.
Get that flat shift dialed in.
Yep, flat shift, auto blip, stuff like that. And yeah, it was
All
perfect.
the nannies that Robbie loves.
I say that, but oh my god, is it a fucking aggressive flat foot shift?
I was really sad because you had talked about how cool it was,
Yep.
and then you talked about like how loud it is. But then when you're in a 60 car field, it's not loud enough.
At rev up, you can hear it.
Yes.
But yeah, in the middle of a field.
In the middle of a giant 60-car field with an ever-growing number of... Oh, Jesus.
So that's the best I got.
An ever-growing number of BMWs.
Ugh.
It's not loud enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we first started doing it, he had like different settings you can do, and he kind of did the more aggressive one. And he messages me, he goes, "Oh, she's nasty." Okay, that's the right setting then. We like that one.
Yeah. Let's stick with that one.
Yeah. So yeah, when I took it, it's like I dropped it off at Dula, had it for a few weeks, got it exactly where we wanted it. He took it out to, like they do like an open test drift event on like a Thursday night thing.
Yeah.
So he took it out to one of those. I think we put like 3 tanks of fuel through that thing by the time it was all said and done.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I mean, Joe does fucking amazing work. And
yeah.
He wants it to be right, so he took the time to make sure it was right. So, so like when I went and picked it up right before Rev Up, so like I drove out on, was that Wednesday? Then I was there. Nope, it was Rev Up. So I was like there Thursday, spent the night in Dayton, then took the car Friday to Gingerman. So when we got there, E-Man met me at the shop, and we were hanging out, and then took the Z out for some like test drives up and down the street. Which of course I'm sure the neighbors have to be used to it. But,
yeah, probably.
But at the same time, it's just like I'm doing these aggressive flat foot shifts in like just a regular industrial park full of fucking people.
Right.
And we're kind of like testing out the traction control and all that stuff, and because like we have it set up so that the dial has 12 different settings. So like obviously one is off, and then you go all the way to 12, which would ideally be like my in a monsoon setting.
Right.
So basically put it in the middle, and it was keeping me under control. But now it's actively trying to abuse it and make it do its thing. So yeah, car felt fucking phenomenal. Took it up to Rev Up. Car felt pretty good. We were like, Joe came with me, and he was like making minor adjustments all weekend to it. The only issue I had was that my ABS module came on, or my light came on from my ABS module, and it was giving me pressure sensor faults. It's like, well, fuck. Like, now I'm going no ABS this weekend. Then of course they're BMW pressure sensors, so like $200 a piece, or whatever they were. Like maybe it was $150. But yeah, obviously that wasn't going to happen at Rev Up, so I went the entire event without any ABS because of that. Car felt good. Like literally nothing remarkable about Rev Up. Like it was just a weekend of testing for me.
Yeah.
And then we were really happy with where the car felt. Knew that I had to fix those sensors. Just hung out with Jason and Joe all weekend.
So Jason was there? I couldn't remember if he was there that weekend or not.
Yep. Yeah, he was testing out the BMW for GLTC, and then he had his McLaren there as well. Yeah, there's like literally nothing remarkable to talk about besides the fact that
car went great, car ran great, everything went well. Should be ready for Gridlife or for Midwest Fest.
Yep,
which is exactly what you want in a test weekend.
Yeah, so
literally nothing to talk about.
Yeah, honestly,
that's what you want. Yeah,
because he was just making some real minor adjustments to it, stuff that I can't even speak to because it's just he's looking at the laptop going, I'm not happy with this, and he's just making changes to it.
He was still doing that at
Midwest
Festival.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides the fact that I knew and I diagnosed, like I checked the wiring, I swapped the sensors, like I was getting a consistent fault that to me implied that it was in fact a sensor, because when I was sitting in paddock, it would read, but as soon as I'd go on track and do a couple laps, my ABS module light would come on, I'd lose ABS, and it would give me a pressure sensor fault. I was like, well, it's gotta be a pressure sensor, right?
Yeah.
Replaced them. Fast forward to Gridlife Midwest Festival. Kind of the same thing happened. I test drove it around the neighborhood here. I sat in the shop, watched it on the computer. I was like, everything looks good. I think I fixed it. Light never came on. Went out for practice at Midwest Fest. Light came back on. So it wasn't the sensors themselves. And we'll kind of get into I don't have the full answer yet, but there's more to there's issues with my brake system clearly. So, but yeah, so
which is a somewhat common thing with 350Zs going on track. It turns out.
Yep. Well, I
I
mean,
hate brakes. Brakes are the worst.
well, like I mean, 350Z's front and rears wheel bearings are notoriously flimsy,
Yeah.
like just fucking hot garbage.
Right.
So like the thing to do on the rears is to replace them with 370Z wheel bearings and axles.
Right.
Easy swap. You knock right out. The only issue you have is that the extension for the axles is too long, and you have to have like multiple washers for the axle nut. So you put like 3 on each side, and then just torque it down like normal. Otherwise it'll eventually loosen itself, and then whatever. But other than that, but there really isn't a great option for the fronts. You just deal with it. So what everyone runs is you pay the money and you get the OEM wheel bearings.
Yep.
The only other option that has decent success is Timkins. Authentic Timkins.
Which we've talked about.
Yes.
Those are hard to get, turns out.
Turns out not as easy to get as I thought. The last 2 years I've been running Timkins. I was happy with them, but it had been 2 years, so I phased them out, went to brand new OEMs. The first event was Midwest Festival, and I really wasn't getting like obvious pad knockback, except after like going into 10, like turn 10, after that 7, 8, 9 sweeper.
Right.
That's the car's leaning in, it has a tendency to kind of push those pads back a little bit in the front.
Well, it's always going to be worse if you've got left, right, left, and then brakes.
And also those are fast corners, so there's a lot of load.
Yep.
And then add more if it's bumpy.
Yep.
Gingerman's not the smoothest track in the world.
No. And historically, it hasn't been too bad, but it's always just one of those things that it's kind of there. But at the same time, the ABS module would help compensate for that. So if you slam on the brakes, it's not going to lock up any of them, obviously.
That's what it should do.
Right. But yeah, I had really no issues at Rev Up. So we were actively trying to test the traction control system. So I'm kind of overdriving the car the whole weekend, leaning on the traction control, because even if the ABS isn't working, the traction control still is.
Right.
And just kind of seeing where the limits are and like seeing when it activates, see how it activates, adjusting different settings.
Can you feel it?
It's not an aggressive like input. So like the way he has it set up is that it's just kind of like the longer you're on it, the more aggressive it gets. So like if you kind of start to step out, it just kind of like it just brings you back a little bit,
right?
And then you can like when you turn the dial, the just brings you back a little bit. It gets a little bit more aggressive, and it's like so.
Is it doing that just with timing, or? I think I asked you this before,
and I wouldn't be the right person to answer it accurately. I think it's a combination of timing and. There's like a few other things that he did. Like there's like a bunch of different things you can actually adjust. Yeah. But yeah, so like, yeah, but like it got to the point where like I was really happy with where we were at with it. Brought it home from Rev Up. Basically, did some maintenance stuff to the car. Some like realigned it. Just car felt great. I was ready to go. Replaced the pressure sensors, rebled all the lines. Brakes felt pretty good. Sensors look good. Everything read fine. And then we go to Midwest Festival, go out for practice, and ABS module's back. Like the lights right back on. Same fault. So I'm like going through like these BMW forums, like, okay, well, if it's not the sensors, it like what else is it? Like sometimes what'll happen is like if you have really bad fluid, it'll give you a fault. Well, like the fluid's all brand new, so like
right.
I literally flushed the whole thing.
And it's good fluid. It's not garbage.
Yep. So like that you can rule that out already. Otherwise, basically, what'll happen is if it's running fine, but the module will be bad, it'll do that. So I'm like, fuck, I'd have to replace this whole module because luckily they're cheap.
Yeah, the most expensive part on there. Good.
So obviously that's not something I could replace right then and there, but like all signs kind of pointed to that maybe that was the module. So I was like, well, it ran fine with without the module doing anything during rev up. I can run without without ABS this weekend, it's fine. Just be aware of the fact that I don't have ABS.
Right.
Foreshadowing. The bias is not super great when the ABS module is inactive.
Turns out you aren't the only person who had that problem that weekend. And there was more than one person who said, yeah, when your ABS module's not working, your rear bias is all fucky.
Very fucky. And
it's really easy to crash a car into take a car off for the Subaru line.
Yep. So Eric Meadows reached out to me after the fact and kind of explained to me, like, even if you never use it, like if the module is working, you should have a prop valve in it as well. So like if it does fail, then you can basically adjust that out.
Right.
But yeah,
because it's just passing pressure straight through to both channels whenever it's not active.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yeah. So
because that.
Oh, so it's like 50-50 brake bias at that point. Then it's just straight like I'm putting all the same amount of pressure to all four tires.
And I don't know. I can't speak to Mark 60s specifically, but I know some will go rear bias. Like legitimately, like it's like they'll send it straight to the rears. I don't think that's what happens with the Mark 60s, but I know that's a thing on some other modules.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know one time I pulled the ABS fuse on my car whenever I had the stock stuff, and things get real weird.
Yeah.
It was locking up like the right front and the left rear at the same time in corners. It was doing all kinds of crazy stuff because, whenever that module is powered up and active, it is reading yaw and wheel speed and everything else, and it is determining how much pressure goes to each corner. Is my limited understanding of it, at least.
Yep. So we did practice. Everything went pretty fine in practice. Just again, Joe was kind of doing some minor adjustments to what we were at. We didn't know where we were at, like with power, because he has a Mustang and that reads high. So then we go, or at
allegedly,
least the numbers that shows on his reads high compared to the Gridlife dyno. Then we go and get on the dyno, and didn't really occur to me to take it out of, like, turn the traction control off. So we go and do our pulls, and it's like 116 horsepower.
Yeah.
Well, that can't be right. It was like, and it was consistent. Every fucking pull, 116.
Yeah.
But like, which, now anytime you like, if you look at the graph, you could see like, oh yeah, it's obviously pulling power because of whatever. But in the moment, like none of us could like articulate why it was fucking doing this.
To explain that, because we've learned a thing or two now, the traction control monitors wheel speed on all four wheels.
Yep.
And so if you're on a 2-wheel drive dyno and only the back wheels are spinning and the front wheels are spinning or are stationary, the traction control gets real upset.
Yep. And starts to
and tries to compensate for that.
Yep.
It's just doing what you told it to do.
Yeah, so it peaks at 116 horsepower and then just like slopes off.
Well, so
it was a really weird graph.
I can say this because I'm not a competitor, so I can. But I brought this up to Abe and Adam, both, because it would be real easy, so I've been told, to set it up so that if the car sees that the front wheels are stationary and the back wheels are not, it will automatically pull small amount. You could set it up to just pull 10 horsepower, pull 15 horsepower, just a small amount, so that you could cheat a dyno real easily.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned this to Abe because like that's part of his job at Gridlife is watching for those things, and it's like always kind of been one of the things we joked about with the dyno is like how cool I don't know about cool is the right term, but to catch somebody actually cheating using this dyno would be kind of an interesting event.
For sure.
And one of the things that they always in impound, as soon as you get off track, they have someone jump with you, and a lot of times they'll take a picture of the dash or whatever to make sure that you haven't changed any settings. Well, if you're out there on track with the traction control off or on, then you can't change that. That's what they tell you to do.
Yep.
And secondly, you could reasonably easily set up for the ECU to do it without any input from the driver.
Yeah, you could hide it within CAN. You could have CAN within CAN.
Right, you could hide it in the programming, and unless somebody who knows what they're looking for is going to plug into every single car in the field and just kind of page through your tune, you'll never catch it.
Now you're talking about the scrutineering that they do at a GT4 America event.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So
where every session, every car gets downloaded.
The response was that's why they have those little
data boxes. And I've been told that I've never been a part of a data session with an official or anything like that. But I've been told that it's very, very easily to really very closely show whether or not someone is cheating by looking at acceleration graphs and stuff like that. I want to say that Adam said at one point that you could see a difference of 5 horsepower with the data box.
Right.
So I want to believe that's true. I do.
Right.
Because I know you could hide things on a dyno.
Right.
Yeah.
But I want to believe you could catch within 5 horsepower on a box.
And
if you're up that much, like if you're gaming at 10 horsepower, then you gotta drive with that in mind.
I think you could.
There'd be a lot of gamesmanship around how to utilize that in a way that it wouldn't be really freaking obvious as tight as things are.
Well, I think it would be hard. I think it would be hard to notice 5 to 10 horsepower.
I think to me, I think it would be, but I think if you've looked at enough data,
well, I guess if it was a spec series, so just by like standing outside, at trackside, watching cars go down straightaways and into corners.
Sure.
I think if it were a spec series, it would be easy to see 10 horsepower. But because there's such a huge variance in the way people can build cars and still get roughly the same results, I think it would be hard to see 5 to 10 horsepower.
Yeah.
Just by watching the race. And that somebody might decide. Now, personally, I think that person who would decide that is most likely a newcomer. Or at least that's what I want to think.
Sure.
That I want to think that Gridlife has created a culture where most of the regular competitors want to prove themselves on as equal a playing field as they can get, and they don't cheat because they want that. They don't want to have that in the back of their head. They're like, yeah, I beat Luke McGrew that weekend, but deep down inside, I know that I cheated to do it.
I would agree that the mass majority of people
of the regulars. That's why I think most likely someone's going to open that rule book. They're going to see a live stream or whatever. They're going to hear the buzz. They're going to want to come and race, right?
Sure.
And they're going to open the rule book and they're going to read this and they're going to be like, okay, well, they're using a dyno for scrutineering. I know ways to get around that. Yep. I want to come out swinging my first event.
Sure.
And like really put my name on a map and might game the system enough to try and cheat it.
And I also think that I don't want to point fingers or name names, but I do believe that there are people that are maybe not on purpose, but they are incorrectly taking percentages.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just use my car for example.
I think I think there's enough ways that you can build a car in that rule book that it's hard to not have that happen occasionally.
All right, so here's the perfect example. Dusty, let's say Dusty's Z is a GLTC build. And I have a GLTC build. I have a VQ35DE.
Right.
That is 3.498 liters. So it's less than 3. It's the 1% 3.5 liter modifier.
Right.
His HR is 3.502. That's the 3% modifier.
So the rule book specifically states 3.499 and below, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's 3.500.
Or, yeah,
whatever the cutoff is. The VQ, DE, and HR are the perfect example of one goes above, one goes below
by like hundredths of a liter of displacement.
Yep, but when you're talking about cars.
But the rule book does go that far out in decimal points.
Yes.
So
that's the point. And then so like, but when you have cars that have a total of 6% modifier,
right,
and they're incorrectly taking engine displacements,
they're taking a 1% instead of a 2% or a 3% modifier.
Yeah, so you're already talking like
so
a
you're
2% swing.
Yeah, you're talking a car that should have 8 and only gets 6.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I have seen situations where I looked at that and was like, your weights and powers don't match what it should be.
Right.
Again, I'm not naming names. I've witnessed it. I'm like, I don't think that's right. I don't. Again, I'm not an expert on it. I know the VQs.
Right.
That's my thing. But I don't know the other engines, obviously.
Right.
But like some of the percentages that I've seen were like, that seems odd to me. But again, I'm literally not accusing anybody of cheating. I'm just.
No, I think it's more likely, just, I don't know that ignorance is the right word, but like just not understanding your car and the rules and how you're supposed to do it.
Sure, for sure.
I mean,
I
until you told me that, I figured the DQ and the HR, or the DE and the HR were the exact same displacements.
Nope.
Why wouldn't they be?
Well, I mean, the HR
They're
has more
essentially
torque.
totally different engines.
Yeah, they're
I
very
know,
different.
but
very
like,
different.
I didn't know that.
No, but at the same time, is Abe gonna know that?
No,
Is Scott gonna know that?
Probably
is
not.
Jabay gonna know that?
Not unless he asks
Jabay
somebody.
might, because he knows that the DE is legal in Track Club TR, whereas the HR is not.
Yes, and
so
I'm-
he's aware.
And I'm pretty sure I am not mistaken when I say you and he had a very long discussion about those differences
a little, yeah, we did, because he
when he was trying to decide those rules.
yeah, and we talked about the Club TR. He reached out to me on some specifics of the DE
Right.
before he made that decision. Yes.
Right.
Where he decided that the DE was weakling enough to be in the field with
Puny.
Which-
Puny enough, I think.
Which he is correct.
with all of the K swaps
Yes, which he is correct.
in the car that if you get it to holy hell it still weighs 3,100 pounds. Yeah.
Do you wish now that is there a small portion of you that wishes you didn't have an HR? Because you could run
no,
it in Club
because
TR
I
instead
have-
of street?
The only cooling modification I've ever made to my car was putting an oil cooler on it, and it whips around a track for a full 20-minute session when it's 100 degrees outside and does not get hot at all. So
Nice.
Is that not a DE thing?
Mine was pretty hot at Midwest.
Yeah.
That was one of the things we were working on was dropping down the high temps,
well, and that,
oil temps.
and that's after you did the Pathfinder thing and the bigger radiator,
swirl
and
pot.
light.
Well, I guess the water temps are never a problem. It's always oil temps. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have a 40-row oil cooler. It's fucking huge.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so like
Yeah, I was-
super rabbit trail there.
Yeah. But I think it's important to talk about that stuff if we know it.
Yeah, I think so. But anyways, yeah. So practice went okay. Qualifying
Well,
went.
so the dyno.
Oh yeah, we're at the dyno.
So-
that's where the rabbit trail went.
So we ran the car, made 3 pulls. They made 116 or 118 horsepower or whatever it was.
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, congratulations, Robbie! You can run in Sunday Cup now." And so we thought maybe there was something wrong with the dyno because we're like, he was out in practice and not getting walked on straights
No,
like
I
he
was-
was
I was-
standing still
I was
because
running.
he's at like half the horsepower he should be.
Correct.
So clearly something's weird. So they pulled your car off and pulled another car on, the next car in line, and he was like
Dead on.
0.2 horsepower off of what he expected to be at.
Yep.
Fuck, there goes that idea.
Yep. And it was just one of those things like if Joe would have been the one to get into the car and just the first thing he would have looked at was like, oh, traction control's on, and he would have just spun that dial back off.
Right.
No problem whatsoever.
Right.
But yeah,
Who figured it out?
Joe did as soon as he looked in the car.
Oh,
As soon as he poked his head inside the car and realized, oh, your traction control's on. Duh, I'm an idiot. Like it didn't even occur to me. As soon as he said it, I was like, oh yeah, this
fuck.
It's just
fuck. Like it's just I don't do dyno pulls. Like I didn't. Like it's just one of those things. Like I should have known, but didn't. Like it just.
Dude, I've ran that dyno a dozen times or something.
Sure.
I never crossed my mind ever.
Like even like we're sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and like, and Joe knows this, and he like it just even in the moment, just like it just right past all of us. I was
Right.
like, what could it possibly be? And of course, it's something simple and stupid.
Yeah. Oh, great. We blew the motor up or something, you know.
No. So we got that figured out.
Put it back on the dyno.
Put it back on the dyno.
Was right where you hoped to be, right? Basically, give or take.
Truth be told, it was less like that. My car's always kind of read low on that dyno. Like any other dyno jet, it's been higher historically. But it like full power was exactly where I wanted it to end up. So I didn't have to do any detune or anything. So I mean, it's whatever. But again, we know exactly where the car is on the Gridlife dyno, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
And so it was exactly where I wanted it. I think, yeah. So I had to. So I added a little bit of ballast to allow myself to run less fuel.
Yeah.
So, or like to have that safety margin, so that I could run low on fuel and then still be safe.
Right.
So I did add like I think I added a 30-pound ballast to the car just to have that buffer. Qualifying went okay. Didn't have a great lap. Qualified like 27th. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't unhappy with it.
Top half.
Yeah, I knew there was for sure time on the table. I know for a fact I'm slow through. Was that 5? I'm way too slow through 5. I wasn't putting enough power down through 6, like 7, 8, 9, and then going into 10. And I didn't like the way my brakes felt going into 10. Uh-huh. Like that was kind of one of those things. And again, it was the pad knockback thing I'm fighting. It was like that was where the brakes felt the worst. And as soon as you take that confidence away, like, my brake zones start earlier. My braking is less aggressive. So it's just, I wasn't totally happy with my lap, like knowing that I left time on the table, but at the same time, I was totally not happy with the way the brakes felt.
Right.
So go to the race. Race 1. Had a pretty decent start. We had a clean first lap. I think I'd moved up 2 spots at that point in the first lap and a half.
I have no idea.
I can't remember now. I was feeling pretty good. Just not being aggressive, but like making moves where they presented themselves. But on the second lap, going through 7, 8, 9, going into 10.
Yep.
I had the perfect opportunity I was up alongside, and I can't remember who it was, and I did an absolute fucking horrible job of pumping my brakes back up,
right,
so that I would compensate for the pad knockback. So when I went to brake into 10, all I had were rears, and I looped the car, go all the way off on the inside of 10, come back on the track backwards, and luckily Tony Marchev, who was behind me, braked hard enough and fast enough that all he did was like he T-boned me and hit the rear quarter and wheel and door.
Yeah.
But he's got like a bash bar in the front of his car, kind of like I do.
Right.
So his car had like no damage whatsoever, which is awesome. Like,
right.
I like that was like one of the first things I'm like, fuck, I ruined. Obviously, my race is ruined, but now I just fucking ruined his race. His whole weekend's ruined.
Right.
Luckily, come to find out, that was absolutely not the case. It was just my car that was damaged, not his. So, which of course, sitting there, get the car started again, pull off into the off track, so like I'm out of everyone's way. But obviously, the steering wheel is completely sideways. There's clearly damage, so I just park it. So they come and get me. I'm too low, so they can't drag me on, but the splitter's damaged and broken, so I can't get the splitter off. Yep. So I was like, well, it's already fucking broken. Just drag it on. Like, who cares at this point?
Right.
We're ruining everyone's race right now.
Yeah.
I don't care about the splitter. It's fucking broken. Truck. Just drag it on. So we did that, drug it on, and broke it a little bit more, but that didn't matter. I think I got a picture here. But yeah, so I still don't have it off the trailer. It's like we a group of us after the end of the weekend drug it onto the trailer, and but like all things considered, it doesn't seem so bad. I think I got the wheel needs to be replaced, which of course Koenig's those are not super available right now.
Fuck.
Yeah, so that's really fucking frustrating. It's ordered, and I know Koenig has on their website has 48 in production at the moment. I'm really hoping I can get it by
48?
48 wheels are in production right now for that size.
Isn't Koenig a big enough? Like, you think they're a big enough company that they'd just be making wheels?
You would think. No, the number of in production and available on their website is like not as big as you would think. I don't know. I'm hoping they mean sets. I really do. But yeah, so the wheel's broken. The quarter panel's dented. The door is damaged. Not a big deal. The door, like you replaced the door. And two of the arms, like the camber arm and the traction arm, are bent.
Yep.
I think that's it.
It looked to me like that was largely it as well.
So, I get it back to paddock. Obviously, take a moment to myself.
Yep.
Take the piece of the splitter that was in my hand and threw it in the back of the trailer. Yeah, I needed a moment. Then I went and
we've all been there.
Yep, it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in Michigan, sometimes it's in Kansas, but we've all been there.
It happens, or St. Louis. I then went to go find Tony. I couldn't remember where he had paddocked, and I was convinced he was paddocked over by the ASM group. So I went over there. He wasn't there. Then I went up.
Just like straight down from us, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like literally 4 cars down.
I don't know. I was going to say he's just like right.
He was right there. Like,
yeah,
just past Dewey. He was right there. But for whatever reason, I had it in my head that he was over by the bathrooms. So I went over there, couldn't find him. Probably just like my head was in the wrong place at that point. So I went,
understandable,
and then went around, and so then I went up and talked to. Actually, I thanked the crew, the safety crew. Again, just because like at this point, I got all my gear off. I was like, thank you so much. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Talked to Jabay for a minute. Apologized for ruining his race. Went and talked to Renee and Scott and just kind of told them what happened. And at that point, I was convinced it was an ABS module. Like I've had weeks to kind of decompress. I've watched the video. I've watched my video. I've watched Tony's video. And then kind of had like replayed it in my head. I was like, I don't think it's the ABS module. Like this is a brake system issue that's not necessarily the ABS module. I think something else is going on. So, but then I finally was able to find Tony. Like, apologized for ruining his race. Asked if there was any damage to the car. Asked if he was okay. He's fine. Car actually, like, there was like a little bit of blue on the bumper. That was it. Like. We watched his video to see what happened. Like you could see as soon as I hit the brake lights, the car's sideways. It's just, it's so fucking frustrating. And I think the combination of like embarrassment and frustration, like all the build up and all the work that had gotten to get me there, and then I fucking ruin it in a lap and a half, And then of course it's on the live stream, so everyone can see it, everyone can comment on it, everyone's got something to say.
I'll say this. I think they spend too much time looking at crashed cars when they're crashed on the live stream.
And I know they actively try not to.
I don't think they do.
I think Gridlife does a better job of not showing it than any other series.
That might be, but I'm not. When I was on the commenter side of that, there were more than one situation where there were cars in time attack sessions that we spent way more time with them on camera than I thought we should have. That's
probably still true. I don't disagree with that at all.
Like, we're literally watching. There were situations where we were literally watching someone's like heart and soul literally going up in flames.
Yep.
Like, let's find literally anything else to watch.
Yeah, I get that.
Because this is not something we should be.
We don't.
Broadcasting.
Sure.
Time attack to me is a little bit different than a wheel-to-wheel group, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's all club racing. None of these guys are doing this professionally, so
for sure.
It's not like there's another car in the trailer. They're just going to roll this one off to the side, grab that one, and continue on with the weekend. Like we're watching someone in one of the worst situations in their life. Like let's not focus on this.
Sure. Yep. So, but one thing I really did appreciate was that anyone that did see it that is my friend or like that listens to the show or that usually goes hand in hand. But in all reality, so a good chunk of people reached out to me. One, made sure I was okay. Just kind of asked what was going on, and
you didn't see those until late Sunday afternoon.
Because like none of the messages worked because there's no self service.
Nothing worked all weekend.
But yeah, I think, but I talked to Scott Robertson about it a little bit, and just I mean, he helps. Like, track psychologist helped a lot.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing was James Chartres reached out to me after the fact, like after I had posted about it on Instagram and Facebook, I guess. He reached out to me and was just kind of like, because I had mentioned just like how fucking embarrassed I was by the whole thing, and he's like, dude, you got to just. Just let it go. Like you're being way harder on yourself than anyone else is right now. I can promise you that.
Oh yeah,
which I'm hoping is true. Because
for sure.
I would like I really don't think anyone had anything awful to say about me. And then of course like the rest of the races weren't any better. And like it did. All it took was like another race before it was like, oh okay, well we have bigger things to worry about, and we're not. I was not involved in it. I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah,
it wasn't like it was something where you were, like trying to dive bomb in on somebody and panic brake locked up and, took out 3 cars or something like that. Like it was pretty obvious that it was a mechanical issue of some kind that caused the car to do what it did. So
yeah, for sure.
You don't have a track record of
being
a problem or showing up with a car that's half put together and clearly shouldn't be on track.
No, and I don't think my name even shows up once in the incident record. Like there's a
does now.
There does now, but like there's a GLTC incident record.
None of that stuff. Like, didn't you get in with Wes and that other car at PPIR?
Maybe, but I wouldn't have been at fault in that one.
No, but I didn't know if they.
I don't remember seeing my name on that one. But either way, like obviously, like in the years I've been doing this, I don't.
You have no at faults.
Correct. I've had.
You've been collateral damage.
I've been collateral damage, and I've been off. This will be my second off mid race because I went 4 off at Kansas once. Nope, and Midwest Fest once because those tires died. That like on the last lap. Remember that?
About that.
So technically, I've had two 4 offs. But at the same time, I don't have a history of crashing other people's cars, so
right,
which helps, and I take a lot of pride in that.
Right.
So yeah, obviously, the first on-track incident I had, like when we collided in that last turn before the checkered, I was embarrassed about that. I took that really hard because I didn't want to be that guy. And it was the same. Like it was all the same emotions all over again. I was like, I don't want to fucking be this guy.
Right.
Like I don't want to be the reason people's races are ruined. I don't want to be a problem. Like I want people to race with me. So, I just kind of wanted to go home with my tail between my legs, like right then and there. Like it was like literally the lowest I'd been in a long time, like with respect to racing. And then,
fortunately, Gingerman is kind of like an oval track that doesn't have a tunnel, and you can't leave until it's over.
Basically, well, it's Midwest Fest, but I mean, it's all my friends are there. Like we're gonna go to concerts. Jason and Alex are parked right next to us. Like you guys are there. I mean, they're fishing, granted, but
hey, I did not touch a fishing pole until you crashed a car.
That's fair. But like even like it's like we pull it in and Joe's like, well, we can get you some arms. Like it doesn't look that bad. And like I was like, and we could swap the tire over to the other wheels I have. And I was like, I'm not putting that car on track until those brakes.
Well, that's what I asked. I asked you. I said, do you want to fix it? Nope. All right. I'm not. I wasn't gonna push you to it.
If
whatever. If you said, yeah, let's try and fix it, I'd have been under that car before you finished that sentence
for sure. But like the root cause of the problem wasn't going to get fixed out. Right this weekend.
Right.
And then
it wasn't like there was a way you could get out on track and really test it out before being right back into a race. So.
And exactly. And like 2 hardship laps isn't going to tell me like, oh yeah, your brakes are fixed. Like it's like I wasn't comfortable going out and being a cause of another full course yellow because I thrashed to put the car back together, but didn't fix the actual problem.
Right.
So yeah, no, I was totally fine with, all right, we're done for the weekend. It sucks, but I'm not taking another unnecessary risk.
No, honestly, I replaced some parts. I thought sure it was going to be better now.
And we've seen that happen constantly where someone will go out and oil down the track, and then the next session oil down the track, and like,
well, we've given Dalton tons of shit for showing up to events and like cars still kind of broken.
Sure.
Or like
last year at festival.
Or like Dalton time attack events are not test days. Those are 2 different things.
Wildly different things.
And we give him shit, but he's for sure not the worst one.
Not even close.
So,
yeah, so like rest of the weekend was, we made the best of it. We had fun. Jess was there. She enjoyed it. She got to hang out with Alex. And that was fun. Going to the concerts was fun. Watching the other races was
the concerts
kind of fun. Same thing. Like race two was not fun.
Race 2 made it almost the same amount of time under green before it was full course yellow.
Yep, and that was ugly.
Yep.
Race 3 made it most of the way through the race before it got...
Race 3 was wet, wasn't it?
4 was wet.
4 was wet? Okay.
4 was a super wet.
3 is historically the worst race of the weekend.
Correct.
For whatever reason.
It's just, that's how it goes.
That's the one where the red mist is the most descended. And then race 4, you kind of know where you are already, and then it settles back in. That's usually one of the better races of the weekend.
And then race 4 was wet. It was a really good race. At that point, I had grabbed a radio and I was helping Jason. So Alex had her headset. I had another radio. So I was actually sitting right in front of the live stream. So Alex, I think she was on... I'm trying to think where she was at. Somewhere on the front straight, so that she could relay any updates like on track stuff. And then I was watching the live stream to basically give any updates like full course yellow, or there's a whatever over here, or like so and so was off right in front of you. So, being a wet race, there was all sort decent amount of offs. There was local yellow stuff like that we could help them with.
What a novel concept, Robbie.
Yeah, I should probably install that.
Yeah, you fucking should.
I actually brought it along.
Say, if only you had a radio.
I do have
I can't describe to you how badly I wanted a radio that weekend.
Yep. So like, helped him with that, and he had a great first GLTC weekend. So I was happy to be a part of that and help him with that, because he was still doing double duty. So he like, and the way the time attack is set up, it would go to his group, and then the next session is GLTC. So
they flipped the run order. They used to go fastest to slowest. Now they go slowest to fastest, and then GLTC.
Correct.
So he's in A, which is the fast one,
yep.
And then immediately needs to just literally jump out of the McLaren into the BMW and go.
Yep.
So
yeah. So
I was hoping maybe somebody needed to drive the McLaren to grid. Oh darn!
No, that was a
volunteer.
That was an option. So like if time got crunchy and I was going to drive the BMW into the pit stall, and then as soon as he pulled in, I would jump in the McLaren and bring it back to paddock.
Oh yeah, so that's still necessary too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was a legitimate plan. It never actually got to that small of a window that we needed to do it though.
Jason.
But he's very protective of that car, so like I wasn't getting to drive it.
Yeah, I was going to say Alex has driven it, but she's the only other person that I'm aware of who's ever driven that car.
I believe.
I mean,
so,
there might be one or two of his close friends that I've never met, but
I don't think so.
As far as I know, it's Alex.
I believe so. Yes.
Knowing what that paddock looked like on Saturday last year, you could not pay me to get anywhere near driving that car.
I would have been super nervous, but yeah, it was a busy paddock again this year.
We went out in a drift grip taxi session, him and I, in the McLaren. And
Fucking nuts.
Oh,
Fit.
dude, he was like, should we gap him? I was like, yeah, we fucking should, to like these pro drift cars. And they come into the, you know that there's, cause you could tell, right? We'd be a ways behind them.
Sure.
And they'd be just sliding every corner. And then when he would get close, they would stop doing it. They're like, cause they're like, is that a fucking McLaren in my rear view mirror? Like, well, now I'm done having fun till he goes away.
Yep. Not going to be the guy that hits the McLaren.
So I'm 100% certain that was the fastest I have ever been in a car. Was with him on the back straight.
On track. Yep.
Yeah. No.
But
Period.
on a track is still the fastest you've ever been.
Yes.
Yep.
That was the fastest I've ever gone anywhere in my life.
Dude, the way it makes speed.
Like 150 something.
Because like on a regular lap, I wonder what he.
I think he hits 100.
Gets up to.
I think he hits 160 on the back straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking 160 or a little over.
So he did say that the car is a few mile an hour down on what it used to be because he's currently not running the tune he ran last year.
Right.
So, but dude, the way that car accelerates, it's so stupid.
It's crazy.
It's so wild.
I mean, I did a session with just a stock 720 years ago in a local time trial, and
wait. Like, let's rephrase that. You were in your car.
I was
while there was a
Camaro.
720 on track as well.
I didn't know.
Okay, because the way you worded that, you could be misconstrued as I drove a 720 once.
I thought he was saying he was a passenger.
Okay.
No, I was.
But
on
you were in
track
the
at same
Camaro, which
time.
is no slow car in its own right in a straight line.
So there was one session where he did not put down a good time, so he gridded behind me. So I did my flyer and then pointed him by on the second lap. And whenever it went by, it sounded like an airplane.
Yeah.
It did not sound like a car.
Spaceship.
Yeah.
All I heard was air and it's a spaceship. It's a damn spaceship.
That's how it feels inside it too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but like, did you kind of experience it? Like, as soon as he hits that pedal, he just kind of like, I don't know, like it's almost like a tunnel vision thing where it just like everything just kind of feels like it's right in front of you, and it just.
There's no way I should be where I am. I should be farther back than where I am right now.
Yeah.
There's no way I got from there to here as quickly as I did.
Uh-huh.
It shouldn't be possible.
Like watching videos in Ferris's car of tracks that I've driven.
Yeah.
Knowing how long it takes to get from one corner to the next and being like, "Ooh, wait a minute, it's already here." Like, what?
Yeah.
Wild.
So he runs Supercar 3Rs, and I guess they have a life. And then they fall off dramatically. And so he was going out there and like putting in his flyer and then bringing the car in and being done with the session and not putting unnecessary time on those tires. So that did help getting transferred to the GLTC car.
Right.
So, because he had a 20-minute session and he was out there for 5 minutes.
Basically, yes.
So, but, yeah, so in GLTC trim, in that BMW, they said this on the live stream, so I'm not blowing up his spot. He was the heaviest car on track at whatever that was, 3,800 pounds.
Something like that.
But also the most powerful car on track.
This is also correct.
Makes like 270 something.
He had the highest mile per hour.
Right. So, yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to make that public, but fine.
Oh, he talked about it publicly.
Did he?
Oh yeah, he's talked about it.
Okay, so he's multiple miles an hour faster than anybody else in GLTC on the back straight.
But he's also carrying around like an extra half of a car
Right.
compared to.
And so the front end of that, he has like no significant arrow on that car, and the front end of that car just washes out really bad. So once he can, figure out the understeer issues, which he's doing some things to help.
Yep.
I think that car's going to be kind of a weapon.
It should be. Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like a German version of James's car.
If he can keep the tires underneath it,
Yeah.
And
for the full race.
Well, I know he's going wider tires moving
Right,
forward.
but I mean, like, if he can,
Because he,
with
he
all
can do
that
what?
weight,
yeah.
if he can keep the tires and the brakes happy for a full 20-minute race, like, or 15-minute race, whatever they are,
Right.
that car's going to be
That's-
a weapon.
Should be, yeah.
That's square 315.
Yeah.
Yes.
315s? I don't know. It starts with a 3.
It's
It's big boy tires.
I'm pretty 305 at the absolute smallest.
I think they were 315s.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he has to order custom wheels and all this stuff. We're like,
We feel bad for him.
he just lives in a different world than we do. I don't know.
I'm just hoping to get one Koenig by July. Otherwise, I gotta do some weird like wheel swapping things going on, and I don't want to do. And I don't want to do that.
Oh yeah. Do you need me to go get those?
Are they 10? Are they 10 and a halves? Actually, we might have to have a conversation.
I was going to say, let's talk.
'Cause I have
San Antonio. They're like 4.5 hours away. It's the only issue.
So I was
And you have to bring him to Road America, too.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
Well, I guess I'll just have to come to Road America then.
see ya. Well, there are 2 sets of wheels, actually 3 sets of wheels on Marketplace between here and Road America that I have saved.
problem
Just
solved.
in case.
Problem solved.
Just in case, because
We're
like
good.
there's little like
That's hilarious.
there's 0 Koenig 10.5 heliograms in stock anywhere.
yeah.
Fucking annoying. But like yeah. So we watched race 4.
It just felt like the 10th race.
It felt like the 10th race, but so like it was a great race, and it was really fun to watch in the rain. And so we all kind of go back to our paddock spots, and that's when it really kind of occurred to me, like I'm in the worst fucking paddock spot in the world.
Yeah.
So the race is over. Everyone's happy. It was a green flag race. Everyone's pumped about how they did. I sat there and watched it. I hate being at a track and not being on track. I fucking hate it. Like, if I quit racing, I'll probably never go to a track ever again. No joke.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I go if I'm not driving is to shoot photos. So
That potentially that, but
or drag a kid along. But even then, I've still got a camera in my hand. So
let me put it this way: we'll probably end up talking about it more on a different episode because we're running out of time on this one. I went to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I had less, I was less interested in just being at the race than any track day I could ever be at.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy sitting there watching someone else do something I want to be doing. I don't.
I don't have that need.
So, watching the top 3 get thrown into scrutineering and are parked literally across from me,
Yeah.
high-fiving each other, getting interviewed by the live stream.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there in my chair just like, God fucking damn it. I want to be anywhere but here right now.
Oh, shit.
Like, it was like the fucking worst. But at the same time, the most motivating thing ever.
Yeah.
Because,
This can't happen twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for a 6th time or
However many fucking weekends I've thrown away in the last 2 years, 3 years.
Man, I
Cars are
still
stupid.
remember the look of sheer ecstasy because that Topeka was the first race that you ran, right?
No, I did Midwest Fest in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so wasn't the first, but I still remember you coming off after having run like 20th or whatever it was and just mixing it up with the cars that were around you and how excited and pumped you were about just how much fun it had been to do that racing, even though you were wherever in the pack.
Yep.
And yeah, that still sticks out in my mind whenever I try to just go and do a DE day and I come off the track and I'm just like, I don't know anymore.
Makes you want to build a wheel-to-wheel car? Maybe a little bit.
But then he hears weekends like this. It's like, oh, yeah.
Well, so my number one hang up with doing a wheel-to-wheel car is exactly what you were talking about earlier, is my fear of being that guy that ruins someone else's weekend. It's the reason that I don't whenever I do iRacing, I just do practice sessions. I don't go in a lobby because I don't want to be the moron that somebody else is mad at.
And if you do iRacing, it's not an if, it's a when. You will will ruin someone else's
I
weekend
would not feel
for sure.
nearly as bad on iRacing as I would in real life.
I mean,
just so we're clear, people take it equally seriously.
I don't give a fuck. Like, they can take it as seriously as they want. I still will sleep just fine that night.
Yep.
But if I crash into someone's real car, I'm probably not going to sleep so well that night.
And in case you're wondering, I didn't. For like the next fucking week.
I said that knowing you didn't.
I didn't.
You didn't need to tell me that. I knew.
Nope.
And it wasn't because you were in a trailer.
No. And actually, even when I was home in my own bed, still thinking about it.
Yeah. So
yes.
other things we did at festival that weekend.
So fishing and concerts, huh?
So we Dalton decided to, I'll say it, be an adult.
Nope.
Well, before he decided to be an adult and sell his ticket because it was the financially responsible thing for him to do because he's trying to dig himself out of a situation that he got himself into.
By literally doing the thing that he sold his ticket to get out of.
Right, by going racing. So
he sold his ticket, but then he spent however much stopping at every brewery, wing shack, and distillery.
Yeah, but let's be fair. But let's be fair. He would have done that whether he took the choppy or not. So,
casino. I forgot casino.
Yep.
So instead, him and Ryan jumped in the chop top and drove that up there, and we had a running bet amongst us as to whether or not he was even going to make it or when they were going to make it. We did find out that they put the golf clubs in the trunk of the car, which we were like, all right, well, I mean,
yeah, that moved my bet from Friday evening to Sunday morning.
I mean, this is over. The only thing that I thought was like the redeeming of this is that he didn't have a place to stay.
Right.
If he didn't get to the racetrack.
I can stop and get a hotel.
Yeah, but he's trying to
save
I know
money.
he's not like very good at it, but he's trying not to spend a bunch of money.
Uh-huh.
So that was the only thing that like gave me hope that they might make it still.
Okay.
So they did make it pretty late Friday night after Robbie had his incident.
Yep.
And so at that point, we were like, well, let's go fishing. So we spent we fished for a little while Friday night. Dalton, I think, caught something. I didn't get a bite. And then we just started kind of cruising around with the chop top. Of course, while we were sitting by the pond, I was literally standing on the hood of the cruise, fishing off of it. While we're standing there, some like random GA girl like made friends with Katie and Sam. I don't know, girl things, right? Nope, I think we lost Dusty.
Oh yeah, we did.
Nope, he's still there. Never mind. He was just very still.
I was just momentarily zoned out.
Very still. So we decided, well, let's. We're cruising around the paddock. We had, I don't know, 9 people on the choppy. Not a like absurd number, but like more than it was designed to carry, I guess. And we decided, well, let's take this girl back to her camp area in GA. And so we started driving over there.
Style.
Yeah. Like, well, she didn't. It'd be rude to like make her walk all the way back. That would be ridiculous.
It's true.
So we went over there and we got in, and we were driving kind of up that paved road that goes out towards Spectator Hill.
Yeah, just that main.
Yeah,
in the middle road.
A security guy pulled up to me and like basically told me to behave, and I was like,
well, not really a problem.
Yeah, okay, and then like kind of pulled away. Basically told me, don't be a problem, don't make me do my job, and you'll be good.
For you, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually not a
I
problem.
was driving, just so we're clear on that. And so then he kind of left, and no sooner did he get 10 feet from the car, but another guy pulled up and told us that if we weren't sitting in a seat, They had to get off.
How many people did you have in the car?
I don't know, 8 or 9.
Okay.
So
Oh, that's lightweight.
Yeah, that's
so
like
we
a third
had-
of what you had last
we
year.
had one person on the dash, and then me and Dalton in the front, and then I think Katie and Sam and random GA girl were in the back seat,
Okay.
and then Ryan was sitting on the trunk,
Sure.
and there was some random that we picked up in Paddock because he was giving people shots, and then I think he got on the car,
As you do.
and then I think maybe one other person. I mean, it wasn't like out of control.
Yeah,
But that guy was like,
downright-
everybody's got to
that's
get off.
downright.
Everybody who's not in a seat has to get off. And like, I could clearly tell that this was not going to go well for us
Yeah.
already. So
Yeah,
I was like,
Did you do the same thing as last year and comply and then drive 12 feet and then everybody jump right back on?
oh no, it gets worse than that. So I said, all right, tell you what, we'll turn around. We'll just go back. This is because security was more bullish than they were, or than they've been in the past. So I said, tell you what, we'll just go back to where we belong.
We'll just park the car.
Yep. And so I turned around and I was starting to drive back down that paved road. Now, mind you, we were 50 feet out of festival ground. I mean, we were not like most of the way to Spectator Hill or anything like that. We
You
were
hadn't even made it to the porta
we were
potties
like
yet.
just no, we weren't even to the porta potties. We were just barely where the road curves and starts to go straight down the straightaway
Oh, man.
between 2 and 3.
Yeah, so you were just by the concession area.
Yeah. We hadn't even made it past the concession area yet.
Jeez. Yeah, you hadn't gone anywhere.
No. And so I was turning around and I was leaving, and security guard number 3 gets in my face and like just starts screaming at us.
Okay.
And at this point, I don't know why. We have not exceeded 3 miles an hour at this point. And
It's a
like,
parade float, sir.
I was like, or he was like, I assume you're drunk driving? Like, no, I'm stone cold sober, dude.
Like,
Like,
been a decades of this sober.
like go get your blower and we'll calibrate it.
Yeah.
I could not be more sober. And so then he told
He's the control in the experiment.
For real.
so then he told us that everybody except the driver had to get out of the car.
Uh-huh.
Not just the people who were on the car,
No, everybody. It's
everybody.
It's one single person
does
in
that
this
Me, and that I was supposed to take it back. And so, of course, they tried to argue with him a little bit. And then Dalton said, fine, whatever. And, everybody got out of the car and they started walking towards where it turns to go.
to the concerts.
No, so there's a road that goes along the back side of the concert grounds. And that's how you drive back there.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So everyone started walking towards where that 90s.
Yep.
And I assume everyone was just going to hop on the car after that. That was the plan.
Sure.
And they knew that.
Obviously.
But then Fong decided to immediately jump right back on the car 5 feet later.
Oh, boy.
And so I stopped and he wouldn't get off. And so I just kind of kept driving. And I went around the corner and kept going. And there was a security guard number 4 following me. And he said, aren't you going to wait for those guys? I said, no, I'm taking this thing back and I'm parking it.
Yeah, we're
Like,
fucking done with this shit.
I'm done with it. I'm not going to spend all night getting yelled at by security guards. This isn't fun.
No.
So I'm
not
going to park the
getting
car
thrown.
and we're going to go enjoy ourselves doing something else without this thing. Because clearly this is not going to happen this year.
Right.
Fine. And he's like, fuck that. Let me off. And so he jumped off and I drove down. And I was driving real slow.
Yeah.
And the guy in the golf cart, security guard number 4 in the golf cart, drove around me and didn't even look over at me. I thought, oh, he just must be going to Paddock and doing things.
other security things.
Yeah, because he was another security guard I hadn't talked to at this point, so I figured he was just doing other stuff. He went around me and then stopped at the gate and was talking to the guy. And then when I pulled up to the gate, he walked out in the middle like I wasn't going to stop anyway.
Uh-huh.
So I stopped, and he comes over to me and just fucking starts chewing my ass.
For what?
I don't even remember anymore, but I remember trying to say, "Sir, I'm taking this thing back to the paddock and I'm parking it."
Yeah.
And he told me, stop fucking arguing with me and listen. And I was like, I'm literally doing the exact opposite.
I am complying.
I'm trying to take this thing back, and I'm trying to park it, and I'm trying to be done with this.
Yeah.
I would be parked already if you weren't yelling at me.
Correct.
Way to de-escalate the situation, sir.
Good.
So, yeah. So we ended up parking the Choppy, and we didn't drive it the rest of the weekend.
No.
We didn't drive it at all Saturday night.
No.
Thankfully, even drunk Dalton was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
The next night. So we did Saturday morning. We took it to town for like just a supply run of things. And we start coming back, and like I got a little wet. And
go on.
But it was not hot water.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know. Maybe we hit a puddle, or I don't know,
washer fluid or whatever.
Yeah, I'm driving down the road in a car that doesn't have a windshield. Like I don't.
It could be anything. It could be.
I don't know what
Things are going to happen.
I don't know what to expect, right? And I got kind of like sprayed again, and I couldn't tell where it was coming from. And I was like, Dalton, I'm getting wet over here. And we had a bag of ice.
Dalton's like, hell yeah, you are.
Yeah, he is.
We had a bag of ice in the back seat, and so I'm like, maybe it's some fucking weird vortice of air, and it's just pulling condensation off the ice bag or something. I don't know.
Something weird's happening.
It's a chop top, man. Something weird is for sure happening. And Dalton's like, I don't know. And I was like, all right, whatever. And so we kept going, and then Dalton all of a sudden goes, "Ah, shit." And I was like, what? Like, dude, we're overheating real bad. And I was like, that's why I'm getting wet.
Yep, that'll do it.
And so we pulled over, and the heat exchanger for the hot tub is...
I was about to say, does this have something to do with the plumbing for the hot tub?
Sure does.
Yep, it's still in the cowl thousands of miles later.
Uh-huh.
And the plastic fitting, the plastic 90 that Dalton had threaded down into there so that it would come out at an angle where it didn't hit the hood.
Oh, yeah.
That had cracked. That
shit.
Plastic fitting had cracked.
The plastic fitting going into the metal heat exchanger.
That was securely mounted by just sitting there. And so we were like, well, what do we do? You know? And so we pulled over, and we spooled Dalton's new fishing pole while we waited for the car to cool off.
I mean, what else are you going to do?
I thought you were going to say you used the fishing pole to fix it, but no.
No. We spooled the new reel that Dalton had bought because we realized that most of the fish that were in that pond were incredibly tiny, and so we both went and bought ultralight fishing poles.
Good, because you needed another one.
A pole for every occasion.
Yes. I don't even want to talk about it. But, yeah, so we decided, fuck it, we're only like a mile away. We'll just drive there. Turns out we were like 3 miles away.
It's always further than you think it is.
Oh, yeah. And so we were able to get back before it got too hot, but it was getting pretty warm. And so then we decided we would go fish while it cooled off. And then Ryan, at some point in time, just went over there and looped the heater core and the heat exchanger out entirely.
Oh, sure.
So,
problem solved.
Because, I mean, I don't know that you really need a heater in a car without a roof or a windshield.
You really don't.
So it's probably not helpful.
Well, it doesn't have AC anymore, right? Because the condenser got
Jabay
bashed.
ruined the
Jabay ruined it.
It had great AC until Jabay ruined it.
Yeah. So I have to throw that out there anytime there's a mention of the chop top.
Right, obviously. So, as far as the fishing goes, number one, I'm fairly certain I won't be able to do it next year. Because the number of people who told me I thought about bringing a rod but didn't, huge.
Yeah.
And Dalton's an awful fisherman because he tells everybody, oh, yeah, we caught tons of fish. Like, every time someone would, oh, yeah, like, I would be like, yeah, we caught, there's a few. Dalton's like, yeah, dude, we got.
It's nonstop.
It's just like as fast as you can pull them in, there's fish. I'm like, dude, shh.
This place is going to be full of people next year.
Yeah. And but we were getting to the point where we were kind of like bored with catching these tiny, like, I mean, these are fish that are like not even the length or the width of your palm.
Right.
Like they're
two
tiny
2 inch
little
sunfish.
Yeah. And it was getting to the point where we're like, okay, I can only catch so many of these before I don't care anymore.
Right.
And so
Well, the problem is, like, when they're that small, you pull them out, they're immediately dead.
yeah, we killed more than our fair share of them.
Like, they don't do anything wrong; they just die.
Well, more than one of them got gut hooked,
Ugh.
meaning they swallowed it.
Yep.
Because they're so tiny that they have to kind of swallow it before, and then
Yeah, they're not biting things.
and then you can't really get a hook in there,
No,
or
man.
you can't really get the hook out because their mouth is so small.
Sure.
And so,
So what you're saying is there's not going to be any fish in this pond.
oh no,
next year.
I assure you, there's still thousands of them
The,
in there.
the turtles ate well, though.
Yeah, the turtles did eat well, but what we determined is that I tried hard, but what we determined is that there are no bass in there.
Sure.
There are just
Well, yeah, if there's that many little fish, then there's not bass.
right. There's tons of bluegill, and it turns out because I got tired of just catching these little bluegill, and I was like, I'm at least if I'm gonna catch bluegill, I'm gonna catch bigger ones. So I
Did you use a bigger lure?
I used a bigger hook.
Bigger lures equal bigger fish, Adam.
No, it just equals less fish because we caught plenty of not small bluegill on the smaller hooks.
Details.
And then I was just fishing like a spinnerbait and caught like a 1 1/4 pound, like 14.5 inch long crappie, which is a big crappie.
It's a big crappie.
And of course, Dalton told the whole world. Everybody that walked by after I caught that, yeah, you just caught like a 1 1/4 pound crappie. Like, bro,
He just caught the Michigan State record crappie.
yeah. So, literally never caught another thing after that.
Oh, sure.
Never even got a bite after that on that setup. That was like the second cast,
Yep.
and we went from like, yeah, we're probably done with this to like, fuck yeah,
Damn.
we're gonna fish the rest of the weekend now. Didn't catch anything on it.
Damn it.
But we got James Morgan over there. James Morgan apparently has never fished before,
Ever?
ever.
Man,
Yeah, which I
that's disappointing. Like, I mean, you'd think someone's grandpa or father
like at some
or
point.
like uncle or friends.
I mean,
or
I know
whatever,
he's a
something.
city kid, but like,
You gotta see, everyone goes fishing at least once. somewhere.
yeah, he lives in a city that's on like one of the largest lakes in the world.
Yeah. It's people would call it great.
You might even call it great.
Yeah.
Almost as big as the one Robbie lives next to.
Hey. The fishing's only great here.
It's pretty good. I wouldn't call it great. I'd just call
No.
it pretty good. But so we caught he was able to catch. Took him a little while to figure out how to cast because we were using spinning.
Yeah, that's not
Spinning
the most
rods,
natural thing if you've
which
never
are
done
not.
it.
Yeah. So it took him a few throws to get a cast or to get the casting figured out. But once he got that, he was able to catch 2 or 3 little fish, and he was pretty excited about it. I was pretty excited to be able to fulfill that childhood dream for him.
Proud of you. I'm proud of him.
So yeah, he ran the dyno that weekend, so I didn't have to, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate him taking one for the team, so I could fish.
Yeah, that works out for everybody.
It worked out well for me for sure. So Friday night when we got there, or Friday evening when we were trying to figure out. So Katie came with this year because last year she went with, and she had a really good. Or last year she came late.
Yep.
And had a really good time. So this year we decided she would just come with us. We were going to get rid of the kids. We were going to have a weekend to ourselves, which we almost never do. And so I had a tent that I used at Lime Rock, and I remember it being not the biggest tent in the world, but I was pretty sure that, two people who have been living together for more than a decade and sleep in the same bed every night could manage
You'd be just fine. Yeah.
in a queen-size mattress.
Sure.
Turns out it wouldn't fit that queen-size mattress.
You couldn't do like a push it in the tent, air it up after the fact situation like I did.
No.
I did that on the one small one I had.
No, I don't think so.
But it was a double. It was a full size air mattress in a not full size tent.
I think if we had a full, we could have deflated it and inflated it inside.
Okay.
But the queen, nah, bro.
Plus it was kind of tall, wasn't it?
So that's the thing. The air mattresses, like, you can buy like a 6-inch tall air mattress, and then they go all the way up to like 28 inches tall, which is absurd.
I can't say anything because the queen that we slept on is like 24. I think it was fucking tall.
Yeah, we borrowed one from my parents for whenever we camped in the trailer at Topeka. That it was like stepping onto our regular bed.
Yeah,
it took forever for it to air out.
So I bought one in the middle. I bought like a 14-inch one.
Yeah,
that seemed reasonable to me. But so we set up this tent, and I immediately realized that this wasn't going to work. So we borrowed somebody's car. Oh, I went with Joe.
Yeah. Joe Johnson.
Yep, Joe Johnson. I went with Joe to the Walmart because he needed to buy some foodstuffs. I needed to buy some other foodstuffs. We needed to get some smoking supplies for smoking meats.
Yep.
Not smoking other things, because you can get those there too.
That's true.
Yeah, this is Michigan.
You know what's legal in Michigan?
Apparently not riding around on a chop top vehicle.
No.
But so I bought, what was it? 18 by 8 foot.
It's a 9-person
tent, like a gigantic tent, because Logan really wants to go camping. And so we've talked about like, oh, well, maybe we'll get a tent. We'll go tent camping, right? And so I was like, well, I'm not just going to buy a tent that's big enough for Katie and I this weekend. If I'm going to buy a tent, I'm just going to be done with it, right?
Which is funny because we have that big one that we bought for the podcast.
I know, and I might still use that one.
Which is also a 9-person tent.
Yeah, but we bought an 18 by 8 foot tent and a 20 by 10 foot tarp to put underneath it, and just some other random stuff that we bought there, and brought that back, figured out how to set it up in the dark, which was not maybe the most relaxing thing I've ever done.
It's not the easiest thing to do.
It wasn't so, like, if it would have been daylight, I would have been fine.
Sure.
But I was really fucking tired because we didn't get enough sleep Thursday night.
Well, we left at 3 a.m. What more did you want?
And we got up at the ass crack of not even yet dawn. And
it's 3 a.m. It was fine. I told Jason I'd be there by noon, and I was.
I know, we were. But, so I was tired as shit by then.
You slept the whole way up.
That's not true. I didn't sleep at all on the way there.
You could have.
Maybe, but I didn't. I slept on the way back.
That's true.
But, yeah. So I have a gigantic tent now.
It is a nice tent.
Oh, it's a great tent.
And the weather was pretty good.
It was good tenting. It was cold.
Yeah, it was a little cold. No,
We had to snuggle more than we normally would.
So you snuggled a little.
No, she was pretty much glued to me.
Say Jess was for sure.
Yeah.
She had like a sweatshirt on and like I think she had like leggings and pants.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like mid-50s.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, she was super uncomfortable, and I'm like, this is fine.
I wasn't like mad about it.
No. I would have preferred it to be a little warmer, but not much.
Yeah. So Friday night I never made it to the concert.
What about 90 degrees like it was last year?
No.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. I never made it to the concert Friday night. Saturday night we all went and watched Zed's Dead.
I watched a good chunk of Barely Alive. Barely Alive.
Yeah.
I like them. They're the best.
Okay.
Of all the bands that were there, bands? DJs? Whatever. Artists. Of all of the artists that were there, Barely Alive was my favorite.
So we're standing there during one of the sets. I don't know which one. Zed's Dead, Barely Alive. I don't know. Subtronics. Who knows? They're all the same to me. But we're standing there, and there's a couple of guys right behind us, and you could tell they were out of their minds, right? And one of them, in like a quieter part between two sets, he leans over to the other guy and he tells him, I think he thought he was whispering, but it was not a whisper voice, and I heard every word perfectly clear. And he goes, I'm pretty sure if you turned me on my side right now, my brain would ooze out of my ears or something. Something along those lines. So it was something about like his brain being jello and that it would just fall out of his ears or some shit.
He was on another planet, man.
Yeah.
He was having a good time.
Yeah.
I wasn't even on anything last year, and I thought that a couple times.
So yeah, it was an interesting crowd.
It was fun though.
It
was good.
I listened to a good amount of those Zed's Dead stuff.
I liked last year's sets better.
Sullivan King's been my favorite of all that we've seen. That type.
Besides Taking Back Sunday, obviously.
But they were terrible live. I said it.
Yeah, I don't think they were as excited to be there as we
Plus, it was like 30 degrees out.
And
raining.
I was so sick.
I was over it.
What was that band that we saw the first year? That was actually really good.
Savoy?
Was it Savoy?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah, for sure.
And then Avoid was the other punk band at PPR. Was really good.
That was before
Yep, they were really good.
TBS, and I really enjoyed them.
That was good.
That was a good one too. Yeah, but I don't know. That was our Gridlife.
Yep, I have a couple thoughts that I realized that I forgot. So at Rev Up, we went out to eat dinner.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ! The peach cobbler.
So we went out to eat.
How could we forget the peach cobbler, Robbie?
It's been so long.
Jesus Christ!
So we went out to Rev Up. Went out to dinner Friday or Saturday night. Friday night. With a group of us. It was me, Alex, Jason, and TJ.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'd ever met TJ. And so we went to a restaurant called Taste in South Haven. Like, nothing was open at this point. We got a table right before they closed. And I think I had sushi. And then they're like, well, you guys want dessert? I'm like, oh, what do you got? They had like 3 things. And like one of them was peach cobbler. I was like, oh, fuck. I haven't had peach cobbler in a long time. That sounds really good.
Okay.
All right, so I got the peach cobbler. They all got like the tiramisu or whatever. Huge mistake.
Yeah.
So then I get it and I eat it, and it's the best peach cobbler I've ever had in my entire life.
And I quote, life changing.
My mom makes great peach cobbler. I don't know if I can eat it anymore.
He literally told Jess, because Jess was like, my grandma's got a great peach cobbler recipe, and he literally goes to Jess and goes, don't even bother.
I did say that.
Dude, he had to have brought up this peach cobbler like 40 fucking times before we even made it to the track.
Yep. All I wanted was peach cobbler. So I literally wanted to leave the track no matter what happened one of those nights to go get peach cobbler, because we were going to go back Saturday night of Rev Up and just take an order of peach cobbler out as takeout. They wouldn't let them do it.
Oh, really?
Yep. So I don't know if they wouldn't do takeouts or whatever. So after I crashed the car, Jess and Alex go to town for whatever, and I obviously know they're doing something.
Yeah.
So they go into the restaurant, and they don't call. They just walk in, and they're like, all right, here's what happened. Our buddy, our husband is at the track, wrecked his car, is having a rough day. All he talks about is how great your peach cobbler is. They put together an entire pan of peach cobbler and ice cream, which was enough to feed probably 10 people. And then sent
one dejected race car driver.
I had a lot of it. So then Jess and Alex come back, and we're talking like a 9x13 pan full of peach cobbler, and then probably a tub of ice cream. And then everyone got peach cobbler, and it was the best.
I'm going to be honest. I did not get peach cobbler.
Everyone else did. You were fishing.
I was fishing.
But then one other thought that I had that Dusty and I will probably talk at length off air is that while looking into making sure I don't have to fucking deal with this pad knockback issue ever again,
right?
As well as anything else that could be going on with my brake system. So I'm getting new everything. We're fucking done with this.
Yep.
New master cylinder, I have new sensors now. If I have to, I'll get a new ABS module. Whatever. So
two new master cylinders.
Stop it.
Manual is the way.
I believe it. So I was looking.
Can you have ABS and still run a Yeah, you can, because that's what Dalton has.
Yeah.
Dalton just doesn't have. Dalton has manual brakes with an ABS.
Yeah, Tilton's got some masters that are rated for it. Otherwise, you just need to I think rebuild them in the off season probably, because it puts more wear on the seals.
Yeah. Right? So by the time I got home, I had reached out to a guy on the Tracked 350 or Z group that I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he had mentioned in one of his posts that he had been running GTR hubs up front. And I was like, how does that work? Because Eamon had mentioned it years ago.
Right. We still. I mean, that was the genesis of his lying.
Yeah, he told me he could bolt right up. So, so I reached out to this guy. I was like, okay, I've seen your posts. I've had this is the weekend I've had. Can you elaborate on this? He goes, so you take GTR rears, you put them in the front, you take a 370Z axle and you machine it down, so you have the compressing force of the axle doing its thing. He's like, the only thing you'll do is you'll lose ABS, and I was looking into it after the fact, and the little spud on the inside that goes inside the spindle on the GTRs is about a half inch shorter than the wheel hub of the 350Z, which means the ABS tone ring that the sensor picks up is further away.
Right.
Which means it's a lot easier to add material than take it away.
Yep.
So I've already have a design, like SolidWorks model put together of how I'm going to make that all work. So, but I was talking to him back and forth. He's like, so he sent me a bunch of pictures. He's like, all you need to do is like the only big issue is that it's 28 millimeters wider because it's that much beefier of a wheel bearing. And he goes, so you're going to have to, he's running over fenders, so I'll probably end up having to do that. But so it'll move the wheel out 28 millimeters. So you have to do a spacer on your caliper bracket.
That's a lot.
Yep, it's not. It's
28 millimeters is quite a change in track.
It's an inch. Yeah, on both sides.
Yeah.
So because he's running 345 Hoosiers in the front. And he goes, and I have never once experienced pad knockback. And I'm like, I'm doing what you're doing.
Oh my
I'm fucking done with this.
That's crazy.
So literally all the parts will be here this week. Again, I the issue right now is getting that wheel in time, and
345 Hoosiers. Good God, that's a lot.
So now and then the only thing I'll need to I'm trying, like, once the axles get here, I'll be able to determine if there's enough meat on them to just machine in the stuff that I need for the magnetic ring, or if I need to make an adapter and all that stuff. And and until I have it in the car, I don't know the exact dimensions. But I cannibalized one of my old like throwaway wheel bearings that I just kept in, for a rainy day.
Yep.
And I know exactly the dimensions that I need for that. So it's now I'm kind of excited about like I'm finally fucking fixing this. So
good. I'm glad that you're excited about this at the end of the day.
Yep. So I'll probably just like hammer that thing straight-ish, so that the side skirt sticks to the car again. Yep.
You got to rebuild the other side skirt because it got ripped off.
I'm just gonna take the side splitter things, those hot boy things. I'm just gonna take those off for now. I don't, like, on the scheme of important things.
But they look so good, right?
I understand, but those, like, that's not important right now. Like, if things fall into place and I have time to make another one, I'll absolutely do it.
You got to get the splitter rebuilt.
I have a spare. That one that I ruined was I've used it like for 4 sessions. It was brand fucking new.
Oh
yeah, the old one's still good. I just took all the hardware off of it.
Are all of the mounts and stuff still good? The quick releases and all that stuff. We didn't break any of them. Did we?
I don't think we broke any. They came off.
It looked to me like everything ripped off the splitter.
Yep.
And that the mounting points to the car and stuff like that looked to be in good shape still.
I think, and I'm, to the best of my knowledge, they still are.
Did we fuck up your rear diff cover?
You guys did, but it doesn't leak.
But is it fucked?
No. And at worst, it's $150.
So loading a car that doesn't go straight is really hard.
Yeah, so we had like 2 jacks and like a team of like 6 of us. Then, of course, my deep cycle battery in my trailer is dead.
Yeah.
Because, it's only 2 years old.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't. I was having a hell of a time using the winch.
Yeah.
So then they're helping with with 2 different jacks. But we finally got it in. But yeah, like in the meantime, we broke off 2 of the cooling fins off of my diff cover. I haven't seen it yet. Jason, the Kanakari, just kind of walked up to me and handed me 2 of these broken fins and said, "I'm sorry," and then walked away.
You know a guy with a TIG welder. You can stick those back on there.
I mean, you can get a brand new one from I think I paid $130 for a brand new Nismo one. I mean, like, at the end of the day, if that's what I have to do, it is what it is. Like, but if it's not leaking, it's not leaking. Like, if it leaks,
that's what happened.
If it leaks, I'll replace it. Or I have like 3 covers like the stock cover still. So I mean, it's like it's not like I can't just throw one on.
Right.
But like that's the least of my problems right now.
Right.
Even if it is leaking, but I don't think it is. But yeah, then I got to get under the car and make sure that those two arms are the only thing that are bent, which it looked like it was, and those will be here next week.
Did you just buy factory replacements?
No,
or?
no. I got adjustable replacements.
Okay.
And we're working on some deals.
I know.
I
wasn't gonna ask.
Nothing's happened yet, but
we're
still working on it. So like, I'm getting it. I'm moving forward as if nothing's happening. So even if it does work out, I'll still have these as spares.
Right.
So, because I don't want to get caught again not having spares for something like this. Because I don't have any of the OEM stuff anymore. I thought I did.
Oh.
You have adjustable traction rod?
Yep, adjustable everything. Yep. But yeah,
I didn't do that on mine originally because the SCCA STU rules only allowed you to replace like one arm.
Yeah.
Or no, what it was, the traction arm, it changes the wheelbase. So the people that are running 500 wheel horsepower cars in STU complained that 350Zs were going to have an unfair advantage by moving their rear wheelbase.
That's what they'll get. But
like a tenth of an inch.
Basically, it doesn't.
I mean,
if you really want to get stupid with it, you could pull it up against to your quarter panel. But
yeah, I guess.
But you're not going to gain anything by doing that.
It's like
not enough to make up 220 horsepower in difference.
No,
that's probably an exaggeration for how much you can gain in a turbo car, but it is a lot compared to what you can do with a VQ.
Right.
So.
In a car that probably weighs the same or less.
Yeah. But there's like 47 other things that are way more egregious than that down to my car to keep it out of STU now. So
solid diff bushings.
Yeah.
Oh, solid subframe.
They make you so fast.
Solid subframe bushings. The first one that I did that really got it was the urethane steering rack bushings, though. You know how much of an advantage that gets you.
Yeah, just so much faster,
dude. That changes everything.
It's unstoppable.
Yeah, seconds.
Just will be an unlimited class time attack car now.
Yep.
My car legitimately, stock power and full weight should be running in max in SCCA.
Yeah,
on the national because of like
bushings.
4 individual minor suspension changes.
That might make up a tenth in an average length lap.
I have the receipts that say they make up less than that over the span of 4 years.
Yeah.
It happens.
And yeah. So locally I would be running against I think the guy that won the championship in that class last year in our local region was a Porsche GT3. So
same.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to be late for work.
Yep, let's shut this down. We'll catch up on Le Mans and Europe another time, then we'll catch up on his accolades another time.
Sometime.
Yeah, probably.
When we do something.
We at least know we have shows ready to go for when we can get together.
We just have to be able to get together.
That's the hard part.
The content is waiting to be spilled forth.
Yep. There's like 4 more hours of content ready.
I'm going to Iola in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's content right there. We got podcasts just falling on our asses right now. We just got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll catch everybody next week.